Addiction is not about the substances, not at all. It's actually all about relief. And that changes everything. That's great news because if you've been sober curious, if you've been cycling in and out of sobriety, struggling to stay sober, you may have found yourself asking questions like this: Why do I need this in the first place? What's wrong with me? Why can't I stop? These very questions circled in my mind for years, and they all led to the same conclusion. They told me that something was wrong with me. Something was broken and needed fixing. And after years and years of working on myself and trying to figure out how to fix myself, I finally realized one thing: I was never broken to begin with, and neither are you. So if this is hitting for you, if you're like, I do often think there's something wrong with me. Why am I like this? What's going on? I want you to stick with me for this episode because we're going to unpack what addiction is and is not, and why you are not broken. Hey, my name is Jennifer Sack, and if you don't know me, I'm an online wellness mentor, a meditation guide, and a nervous system educator. And I help people who already know something is off and it's not working, something feels a little misaligned, but they're stuck. They're stuck in overthinking and hesitation and what I call the self negotiation trap. That loop where you keep telling yourself you're going to change, but then you don't. Not because you're weak. It's not because you're weak, and it's not because you're broken. Really, all that's happening is your nervous system is driving this pattern. Now, I do want to mention that I am not an addiction specialist, a doctor, a therapist. Really, all of this content is just for education and information, and really brought from my own personal experience of moving into sobriety, having held down sobriety for 5 years now after decades of substance abuse. If you are needing help for substance abuse or withdrawal, please seek out a qualified professional. Okay, so today we're unpacking why addiction is not about the substances itself. It's about the relief and how we can separate that idea and that understanding from the idea that you are broken because you're not. Here's what it is: you've conditioned yourself. You've created a pattern, you've stuck to that pattern, and now you've built an identity around it with a ton of self limiting beliefs. Let's unpack three of the top main questions I know I circled in my mind forever that made me feel fundamentally wrong that you may as well be struggling with. And the first is, why do I need this? I couldn't understand why I needed it in the first place, why I had such an intense fear of what would happen if I didn't have my substances of choice. Like I would just suddenly fall into ashes or crumble and die. Like, what? Really always wondered this. Like, why do I feel like I need this? I truly feel like I do. Like the world will end if I don't have my substances. And what that leads to is an idea about yourself that you're just not okay without it. And the funny thing is, you can cope without it. And you know how I know? I can prove this to you because you always did before you learned to use substances to do so. So, whether it's social anxiety that you're dealing with or just daily stressors, if you're using it to, finally exhale or build your confidence, whatever you're using substances for, you were already able to cope and deal with life prior to using those to do it. So, you have the natural ability. And if you're like, yeah, I think I've lost that ability, let me remind you, pop into the description of this video and find my 7-day energy reset because that's going to get you right back on track. But beyond that, why do I need this? This is a big question. It makes you believe that you're not okay without it, and that's not true. Second question that's very, very prominent, I think, for all of us who are circling in and out of sobriety or sober curious, thinking about sobriety and getting very nervous about it is, why don't other people think it's a problem? Why suddenly do I feel like something's off and wrong? And then you start to go down this track of, well, it must be that I'm just overreacting. Like, I'm just really blowing this out of proportion. I remember doing this so much because I was in a crowd that just saw this as like normalcy. It was normal to get up in the morning and drink, to party all day, to be hungover. It's totally normal to be stoned all the time. Like, it was just a normal thing. And that is no one else's fault. I surrounded myself with these people. So it's definitely on me. You got to always be able to take accountability for yourself. But the normalcy of it made me feel like once I realized this was no longer aligned, and I felt like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I was like, well, why doesn't anybody else feel that way? I must be the problem. I must be overreacting. I need to just reframe and realize I'm blowing this out of proportion. I'm fine. Everything's okay. That is not right. Because here's the thing, it's a personal situation. And anytime you feel like something's a little bit off and misaligned for you, end of story, it is. You don't need any justification from those around you or your environment or what the social norm is. None of that matters. Absolutely 100% does not matter. All that matters is what do you feel is right for you, right? So we can set that question aside. You are not overreacting. You are not blowing things out of proportion if you suddenly feel like, okay, I think this is a problem. All right. Third, why can't I stop? I used to ask myself this all the time. Like, what's wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Why can't I stop? And this led to the decision, the idea that the problem itself was bigger than me. That, like, I really didn't have a shot in the dark. I didn't have any hope. I was just broken. It was meant to be this way. Why even try? So many times that very thought kept me stuck because I just chalked it up to something's wrong with me. I'm not able to be like that. I wish I could be like the other people that can be sober. I just can't. I just can't. And that's not true either. You absolutely 100% can. I'm proof of that. And I want you to know there's nothing wrong with you at all. You can stop. But what's happened is you've just gotten caught in a little pattern. You've wired yourself this way. You've repeated this behavior for a very long time. It's gotten so well ingrained in you and conditioned that it's just a conditioned response to do all the time. It's a pattern. If you realize that and think about it, it's like any other pattern. They can be broken, they can be rewired, it can be undone. This is not just it's not the end of the world. It's really not. So stop treating it like you are broken, like you can't survive without it. There's no way you can change. You're just going to dismiss it because you're the one blowing it out of proportion. No. So what do we do once we've come to this whole conclusion that we're broken, that we need fixing? Naturally, we search for solutions. We go out and we learn and read a bunch of books and watch YouTube videos. We try harder. We just come up with all these ways to try and fix it, fix, fix, fix. And I know this better than anybody. I did it all. I took courses on all sorts of things thinking I could fix myself, whether it was more yoga or meditation courses or certifications in mindfulness, spiritual work. I mean, this all benefited me, sure, but I was still stuck in addiction. So it wasn't fixing me, I felt like. I finally realized none of that was going to fix me. It bettered parts of my life for sure. I got certified in things, I was out there teaching it, but it was never going to fix the fundamental issue because I wasn't broken in the first place. And once you finally realize that, you can stop all the searching, stop that sort of desperation that you feel when you're like, I've got to do something about this. And you can stop the hopelessness also that you might fall into when you're like, I give up. I'm just this way. No, you can stop all that because when you're doing that, you're just outsourcing all of your power. And really, all the power is just within you. It's like right there, it's at the tip of your nose, and you just don't even see it. So, the real clincher here is that if you believe that you're the problem, you'll never be able to see yourself as the solution, which means you'll never tap into your actual power and enforce that. You have to take away that identity, take away that narrative, that story about you're broken. You're the problem. You're not the problem. Here's what's really happening. What's really happening is that your nervous system began to equate substances with relief, and you got trapped in a pattern of using them to do so. Or maybe it was to feel more confident in social situations. Maybe it was just in relaxation, trying to move through the day to day stressors, deal with anxiety, escape, numb, all the things that we run to these substances for, maybe just to have fun because you're a little shy on your own, but you need them to be a certain way. Your nervous system has gotten used to relying on that as a relief tool, as a confidence tool, whatever the tool is that you're using it for. You guys, it is hailing so hard where I am right now. I'm really hoping this isn't coming through on the audio, but I can't promise anything. I'm just going to go forward. So hopefully we're good. It's a little distracting, but I want to impress upon you that this conditioning, this pattern that you have set within yourself of coping is just that. It's not a flaw. It's not a failure. It's just a pattern. And there is no shortage of information and studies out there that teach us that you can rewire patterns and beliefs and recondition yourself and rewire your nervous system. There's a plethora of information out there that confirms this, but we take it so personally. We take it and make it all about us because it feels like us, right? It feels like we're fundamentally broken. There's something wrong with us. It's not true. So if we can learn to separate ourselves from that and step outside and just say, okay, this is just a pattern. Take accountability. I built the pattern. I did it. Repeated behavior. I did it. But it's something that can be undone. It's not me. It means nothing about me personally. I'm still worthy. I'm still whole. I'm still complete. I just picked up a bad habit and now I'm ready to drop that bad habit. That's the really kind of takes the pressure off. It takes the sticky self-worth and shame out of it. It's like, you know what? No. Also, there's another reason why sometimes it feels very personal, and this is because we take it as a part of our story. We take it as a part of a victimhood story, but we also sometimes have genetics that play into this. So there's always that argument of nature versus nurture. And I fully believe that it's not either or, it's and. And personally, that's because I know that not only does my family lineage have genetically a lot of, we're predisposed to alcoholism or addiction and whatnot. We've seen that. But not only that, I created an environment to nurture the very habits. So there's the nature, there's the nurture, put them together, and you have a really nasty situation. So to me, it feels personal, right? You might do the same thing. You might say, well, this is a part, this we're just all like this in my family. I didn't have a shot from the beginning. You made it personal. You made it a story. I'm not saying that it's not true that there's not some genetic predisposition towards it, but also, did you not nurture that in some way? Did you not create the environment? Did you not perpetuate the behavior? Did you not surround yourself with people who also run on the same guidelines as you do? Birds of a feather flock together, that whole saying. So it's not either or, it's and, but that makes it very personal. We cling to that identity, we cling to that story. You need to understand that regardless of genetics, regardless of your own nurturing it, you do have control. You do have the power to change your behavior, to change your habits. The rest will follow. If you're super nervous about being able to cope without substances, grab that 7-day energy reset that's in the description because it's going to help you. I'm going to guide you through finding what works for you, the 1 to 2 go to effective and efficient grounding tools. We're going to get you back into learning how to relax, what it feels like to relax on your own without substances. And you're going to build up a ton of willpower and strength and self-trust in knowing that you can cope without substances. So that's for you. I want you to look down in the description, find that resource and grab it. Okay, let's talk more about the good, the bad, the whole illusion that we create. We've been taught to see this as a moral thing. It's good or bad. All right, drinking is bad. Sobriety is good. It's just like black and white, forces of good and evil against each other. I'm going to challenge you to take that out and to make it completely neutral. Because framing it in that way keeps you stuck in this narrative. It keeps you stuck in this cycle of like guilt and shame, keeps you stuck in like, what's wrong with me? Why am I bad? Why am I doing bad thing? Even though some people might not think it's bad, suddenly I'm feeling like a twinge of like guilt or like, I shouldn't be doing this." And then you get the guilt, the shame, the bad, like I'm bad because you've made that thing very bad. So taking all of the narrative, the energetics about what's good or bad out of it, making it completely neutral, and you just realize there's two different ways of coping. There's a way of coping with substances, and there's a way of coping without. There's a way that brings temporary relief, and there's a way that brings long-term clarity. Neither of those define your worth. You're always whole, you're always complete, you're always worthy, right? There's just two different ways of going about things, and you're choosing a different one. This breaks that whole idea that you're broken, that you need to feel any sort of shame about anything, that it's supposed to be hard. It's just two different ways of going about life. And you might not feel like coping without substances is within your grasp for many reasons. Take away that you feel like it's a personal story of yours that you're broken. You might actually feel like, I don't really know what that looks like. I don't know how it goes. Well, it's just because it's been a long time since you've been there. Or maybe you've been there and it's not had some great results every time. Maybe you start arguing with your spouse. Maybe you feel disconnected from people. Maybe you're a little bored. Maybe your stress goes up. This just means that you need to practice it more, find more tools that help you, and reframe the things that are going on. Boredom can be an amazing thing. It can lead you to all sorts of possibilities and things you didn't even know that you were open to doing that were more attractive to you, that felt like they lit you up more because you were so stuck in another cycle. You just need to use that boredom to your advantage. If you're feeling socially awkward, maybe that's not the social situation you need to be hanging out in. Maybe you need to find a new group. Maybe you need to just arm yourself with some simple one-liners for sobriety so that you don't feel like it's going to be this awkward moment every time you need to turn down a drink or open up a conversation about why you don't drink. If you have some one-liners in your back pocket, you can shut that down. You can feel a lot more confident. You are not waffling. You can stand by your decision and then you build your self-trust. All these things that are different, that are more difficult, are opportunities for you to just learn a new way. This doesn't mean that you cannot do it if it's been difficult in the past. The fear of the unknown is very common. It's one of the reasons we negotiate all of the time. It keeps us stuck in that self negotiation trap because all the fears pop up and then we go, whoa, and our nervous system goes, whoa, this is freaky. Let's stay safe in the familiar. Even though I know it's not what's best for me, at least I know what it's like. So I just want to have you reframe all of those things that you're afraid of as actual opportunities and notice that it's not a signal to stop trying. It's not a signal that it's the wrong choice. It just means that it's unfamiliar territory. But that's part of the adventure, part of the excitement. So if it's not about fixing yourself, if we've taken out the whole I'm broken narrative, what is this about? So we know there's a conditioned pattern. We've equated using substances to relief, but we've realized we're not broken. So what now? What's this really all about? And the clincher is it is all about the answer to one question. And that question is what is right for me? Not what should I do? Not what is good, what's bad. Take morality out of it, make it neutral. Okay. Not what are others thinking about my sobriety or am I overreacting? None of these things. It's only about what feels right for you, what's aligned in your body, what feels like calm, what feels like the right choice, even though it's scary. Even though it's scary, there's a little contraction because you're like, I don't know. What is right for you? And you'll know because if you ignore this little voice talking to you, it's just going to keep popping back up. It's going to keep nudging you. It's going to keep talking to you until you just sit back and you listen and ask it what it wants. And if it wants you to change, I want you to do one thing. When all the fears start popping up, instead of diving right into negotiating with yourself, I'm not that bad. I'll start next month. You know, maybe just a little, maybe just some alcohol, not pot, like whatever it is. If you stop before you start negotiating, you have a little awareness, the fear comes in, don't dive into negotiating. Instead, just make a decision based on what feels right for you. Ask yourself, what feels right for me? And say, you know what? I'm going to try the sobriety thing out. I'm going to move forward with this. Don't waffle. Don't justify it. Don't go into some narrative about why it's right or wrong. Just make a decision. And then all you have to do is take some little micro steps to follow through with that. And you do it consistently. And that's going to rebuild self trust. There's a lot of steps I talk about how to actually move through this. If you want those, go watch my Stop Negotiating YouTube video because that breaks down my entire No More Negotiating e-guide, which has an 11-step framework in it. You can get the framework. You can go get it. You can buy it. It's amazing. It's $7. Go get it. But you can also watch the video called Stop Negotiating here on my channel. It's going to take you through all those 11 steps so that you can move through this. Just saying. You don't have to make a decision today, but I do want you to realize that you're not broken, that if you catch yourself at the right moment, don't dive into negotiation and dive into the decision that feels aligned with you. Then everything works out in the wash. That voice that you're hearing is not weakness, it's just awareness. And we need to give more room for it to speak, more room for us to listen to it. Because when you get quiet, you start listening and feeling into your body, you're going to know what feels right for you. And if what feels right for you isn't the social norm or the popular decision, it does not matter. But what I want you to do is take out all of this personal narrative and story that there's something wrong with you, that you can't cope without it, that you're just overreacting. None of that's true. because the only thing that stands true is what's right for you. And you can absolutely move forward in what feels right for you. You will be supported by your own self because when you move into alignment, the universe has got your back. Your nervous system will get on board eventually when it realizes that you're safe. Okay. So if you have any more questions about that, pop them in the comments. Anything else to say? You just want to reach out to me personally because you don't want to really raise your hand in the comments. Email me at info@jennifersack.com. Let's chat. And beyond that, check out my resources in the description because I am here for you. I have so many things to help you get through this. You're not broken. There's nothing to fix. You just have a pattern and you can change that. Thanks for sticking with me. Have a good one.